Denny Hamlin might miss this weekend's race. Kyle Larson explains why he likely will never attempt the double again. And drivers react to the real possibility of NASCAR increasing the horsepower. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove on the go. Coming to you from Nashville Super Speedway. You can see the Xfinity Series teams taking the car covers off, warming up the engines ahead of tonight's race on the CW. All around us, you may hear, is NASCAR Cup Series qualifying wrapping up. But today we got the chance to speak to several NASCAR Cup Series drivers. A lot of storylines coming into this weekend's race at Nashville, one of which is Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is on baby watch. His son is due literally this weekend. In fact, if you're watching this Sunday morning, likely due today. Ryan Truex is on standby in case Denny Hamlin has to go. And yes, Hamlin did confirm that the birth of his son is going to take priority.
I can't miss it. I mean, I certainly got to be there for her, and that's obviously the biggest priority. There's probably a 8-hour window there that where I don't think that it'd be possible for me to do both, but I haven't put a time on it. Truthfully, I probably should. That's probably something I should work on.
And in case anyone was wondering, no, Denny Hamlin does not have a name picked out just yet.
Trust me, she doesn't like it, but we always put names on the board in the room and just kind of go through them. She's begged me for months now to come up with just give me 10 options. And I'm just not good at that.
Birth of a child is one of NASCAR's approved reasons to win a race. So Hamlin, if he does have to miss this weekend's Cup Series event at Nashville, he will be granted a playoff waiver. We can end that discussion right away. Another storyline this weekend is Kyle Larson. After a disappointing Indy-Charlotte double attempt last weekend that ended with 2 DNFs in the same day, I asked Kyle Larson, how does he bounce back so quickly just a week later after a disappointing weekend?
Just get back after it, and hopefully today goes well. And qualify good, and get a good pit stall selection, and just get back to racing.
We've talked about Kyle Larson and his ability to have a short memory. Wrecks out on lap 1 at dominates the very next week. I don't know if you can see the pylon behind me. In fact, he did just refresh. He's no longer on the pylon. I haven't been blown away by Kyle Larson's speed in practice or qualifying this weekend. He has good numbers at Nashville the past few years. He won here in 2021, but if you look at the last 3 next-gen races at this track, he has good finishes, but Larson has never led a lap. We know, since joining Hendrick Motorsports at least, Kyle Larson does not go through extended slumps. Every other driver in the field does. Every other driver at some point in their career will have a bad 3 or 4 week stretch, or will go several months without winning, have a long winless streak. Happens to everyone. Hasn't happened to Kyle Larson or Cliff Daniels since they teamed up at Hendrick Motorsports. So will this be the weekend Larson immediately bounces back? I'm not sure, but if it doesn't happen here at Nashville, I think Larson will be quick at Michigan. He's a pretty good road course racer. Pocono in a few weeks. I don't expect Larson to go through any sort of extended slump, as disappointing as Memorial Day weekend was. We briefly talked about this last week, but something that made the rounds on the internet this week was Larson giving Scott McLaughlin the thumbs up during the opening pace laps at Indianapolis, after McLaughlin crashed out. Larson essentially apologized for that gesture here today, saying that effectively his frustration got the best of him.
I was frustrated because the rain was so light, and the delay of, the track drying when it was already dry. It took whatever it was, 45 minutes, and then, we're coming to get lights out to go green, and I see somebody crash, and so then I just kind of reacted and with more frustration, and I shouldn't have done that. So I wish I could have taken that back.
Scott McLaughlin said this week that they have talked it out. They're good. They've moved on, so we will move on. Kyle Larson also reaffirmed today that he would like to run the Indianapolis 500 again one day, but he doesn't see himself ever running the double again.
I don't think I would do the double again, but I would, I've said it, I would like to do the 500 again someday. I would just have to be done cup racing probably, because everything's just got to go perfect. You need perfect weather, you need a race that goes, pretty clean, all of those factors. So, logistically, it's just really, really tough. And too. I mean, I think the Indy 500 starts plenty early, and I think the 600 can't start any later. So, yeah, it just makes it tough.
It's disappointing, but yes, the logistics are very tight. And Larson didn't blame NASCAR's new waiver policy, but that does play a role as well. If you're a full-time Cup Series driver, you can't miss the Coca-Cola 600 to go do something else. You just can't. So if anything happens at Indy, you got to get on the first flight back to North Carolina. And that does, although Larson won't say it, that does, I think, put an additional strain on any Cup Series driver who wants to attempt the double. It's a shame that NASCAR and IndyCar, really NASCAR, isn't willing to play ball with both races, but it is what it is. I think the hype for Larson's double attempt in 2024 was much greater than his attempt in 2025. I'd love to see another Cup driver attempt it one day, but Larson is exactly right. Right now, logistically, it's difficult. I want to talk about a couple of guys kind of on the playoff bubble, beginning with AJ Allmendinger, who I accidentally surprised in the media center today.
Have you always been this tall?
I'm all legs.
Is this just because you're sitting down in a chair every time?
I guess so.
God bless you.
Cannot miss him.
Yeah. Once AJ gathered himself after I startled him, apparently, I asked him about that team's consistency this year. They have 4 top 10 finishes. They're just outside of the top 16 in the playoff grid. What's been their secret? What has Kaulig figured out this year?
We've added a lot of people. I think our relationship with RCR is closer than ever, so that's helping as well.
With AJ Allmendinger, we've always talked about the road course races. That's his opportunity to win, to break through, to make the playoffs. So I asked AJ now, because of their consistency, does he view the next few weeks differently? Are they points racing this summer? And this was AJ's response.
I think you guys worry about the points more than I do, honestly. We know the ultimate goal is to make the playoffs. We know the best way to make the playoffs is go win a race. We just got to keep doing the same things we're doing. If we do that, I really think we can make the playoffs.
We know Allmendinger's a threat to win Sonoma, Mexico City, Chicago, but he's also becoming a top 10 threat consistently at tracks like this. Been fun to watch AJ Allmendinger this week. It'll be really cool if they can push their way into the 16-car playoffs by the end of this summer. One other driver I have to mention is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., currently 15th on the playoff grid, holding on to a playoff spot for the time being. The 47 team isn't lighting the world on fire. I think he has 2 top 10s all season long, but the big thing for Stenhouse, 0 DNFs. They aren't taking themselves out of races. Driver isn't making mistakes. Team, by and large, executing. I asked Ricky Stenhouse Jr. today if he feels Hayek Motorsports is kind of flying under the radar. Are people not noticing them?
I don't really care if people talk about us or not. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. What our team is doing is definitely a huge positive thing with the resources that we have, the 25 employees we have working on this race car. We show up holding hands each week, got each other's back, and it's cool to be a part of right now. I think there's a lot of people in the garage that notice what we're doing and other race teams. So to me, that's cool. When other drivers or teams kind of reach out to you and talk about the job that your team's doing and what you're doing behind the wheel. So that's pretty cool.
Again, to kind of echo Ricky's comments there, the 47 team's strength this year has been execution. That strength will be tested over the next few weeks because we have, like I said, a few road courses coming up. 2 weeks, it's Mexico City. A couple weeks after that, Chicago, Sonoma, back-to-back. A lot of road course races, and Ricky Stenhouse, I look back, he has 2 top 10 finishes at road courses in the entire next-gen era. His average finish is 21.2. Not terrible, he's not awful, but he's not amazing either. And a guy like SVG or Allmendinger, there's a great chance at least one car below the cut line is going to win, and that's going to put Ricky in a very difficult bubble position. So the team needs to execute, keep racking up points. They will be tested, I believe, over the next few weeks. We'll wrap up with this. Earlier in the week, we talked about Elton Sawyer, NASCAR Vice President of Competition, mentioned that they're talking every day about adding horsepower at the short tracks. When I started to ask Christopher Bell about that today, he cut me off. He was that excited.
Finally.
Do you think, based on what
it
you've
should go to
heard,
everywhere. It should go to everywhere. Maybe not the speedways, but it needs to go to everywhere. And speedway packaging, the speedway package needs some help too.
Denny Hamlin also likes the idea.
Truthfully, I'll take whatever they give us and be happy with it. Do I wish it was the big number that we used to have? Absolutely. But I think that we need to be realistic, and even if it's 80 to 100, we need to just take it and shut up and be thankful that they're willing to change.
But back to Christopher Bell, he made, I think, a very good point. Bell wants to make sure that fans have the right expectations if NASCAR does add a little bit of horsepower.
You know, and I think that everybody needs to taper their expectations. Like, is more horsepower going to make us pack race at a short track? No, it's not going to make us pack race at a short track. But more horsepower will allow the better cars to move through the field, and passing should be easier with more horsepower. So I think that needs to be portrayed to the fan base. Like, you know, I think the fan base perception of a good race is sometimes different than what the industry and the drivers feel is a good race. So whenever we talk about, you know, wanting more horsepower, I think it stems from a place of wanting to be able to pass better. So adding horsepower, no matter what the number is not going to make us pack race at a short track, but it should make passing easier.
To Bell's point, there is certainly a disconnect between what the casual fan wants, what the hardcore fan wants, what the drivers want, and what NASCAR wants. NASCAR wants close racing. That's why they loved what they saw at Talladega. Huge pack, locked together, no one up front could gain an advantage. NASCAR believes that kind of racing is going to keep the casual viewer tuned in. And maybe they're right, but drivers, meanwhile, and many hardcore fans, I think, understand that the current super speedway package and other racing packages in the Cup Series actually limit what the best drivers are capable of doing. So Christopher Bell's comments there are extremely important. Fans need to understand that if NASCAR increases the horsepower, there will likely be more passing deeper in the field. The best drivers and best cars will be able to move forward more easily. That's great, but the caveat is that there will likely also be more blowouts. If a team or a driver hit on it, they find the special secret sauce, the Larson line, we could see huge gaps, huge leads develop, and the racing won't be as close. Personally, I'm good with it, because while close racing can be fun, I want to see the best drivers put their talents on full display. NASCAR desperately needs superstars, and back in the day when Dale Earnhardt could slice and dice his way from 18th to 1st at Talladega, he looked like a superstar. A couple years ago when Ryan Blaney drove from 10th to the lead at Martinsville late in the season, he looked like a superstar. But with the current car, tire, horsepower combination, those kind of Blaney runs are pretty rare. In fact, Ryan Blaney is like the only guy who's able to make a lot of passes on the long run. They've cracked the code. No one else has. But if we add the horsepower, if we add that variable into play, I think we'll see the best drivers and teams separate themselves more frequently. Won't always be the most compelling TV product, but at least you'll know the best drivers are getting to use every bit of their abilities. So a sport that desperately needs superstars, I think, should go that direction and not worry if every single race is side-by-side close gridlock like that. That's my take. That's probably Christopher Bell's take. But there you go. Talked with a handful of Cup Series drivers, a lot of storylines coming into today, this weekend's race at Nashville. You're probably watching this on Sunday, so yeah, today's race at Nashville. It's a night race, Prime Video. Hope you'll check it out. And post-race, of course, I'll do my reaction video that I always do. So appreciate you guys supporting the show. Hope you enjoyed the content this weekend. I'll talk to you again after the Cup Series race. Have a good one, y'all.